You won't believe what I do with this rhubarb. First, I made a small pile of dirt and placed a garbage bag on top of it. I grabbed a fresh rhubarb leaf and placed it with the vein sides up on top of the garbage bag. Next, I mixed a bag of ready-mix concrete as per the directions on the box. You want it to be a peanut butter-like consistency, and then you know it's ready to use. I brushed canola oil onto the rhubarb leaf and then placed concrete on top. I used a trowel to move the concrete mixture all over the leaf so the concrete was about 1 inch thick. Then I cut up some wire mesh and I placed it on top. This adds strength to the concrete once it's dry. I added about another 3/4 of an inch of concrete on top. I used a piece of scrap wood to tamper it down and it smoothed it all out with a trowel. This is also a great time to add initials if you wish. And then I lifted the edge of the garbage bag and moved the dirt all around the edges to create a form. I let them dry for 12 hours and then flipped it over and let it dry in the sun with the rhubarb leaf up. I've tried many different ways to remove the leaves, but I have found the best is just letting the sun dry it out on its own. I carefully place them below my gutter so that the rainwater will now flow down the rhubarb leaves. Isn't this the most beautiful downspout you've ever seen? I hope this inspires you to get creative with concrete rhubarb leaves. You're not going to believe what I do with this vegetable oil. I added ready mix, concrete mix, peat moss, perlite, and water together and mixed well to create a thick concrete mixture. If you roll it into a ball, it should stick together and then you know it's ready. Next, I oiled the inside of a 20-liter bucket using the vegetable oil, and I carefully packed the concrete into the bucket on the bottom and then worked my way up the sides. I went up about 8 inches and it was about 1 inch to 1.5 inches thickness. After it dried for 24 hours, I flipped the bucket upside down to take it out, and I used a small wire brush with water to smooth around the top edge and remove any loose dirt and dust around the sides and bottom. Then I used a sponge to apply brown, antique white, and gray acrylic paint around the outside, top, and inside edge of the concrete and blended with a bit of water. Once it dried, I added a tropical plant, and now I have a modern pot that looks like a limestone planter for a fraction of the price.
Who doesn't have a dozen cardboard boxes piling up in their recycle bin? I decided it was time to put mine to use. I started with my largest box. Using my slice box opener, I started by removing all 4 flaps of the box. Once all the flaps were removed, it was time to make a mini box. I secured the long sides with duct tape and began assembling the smaller box. Using duct tape to secure all 4 sides and bottom together, I placed it inside and got started mixing concrete. I also tried adding 2 wooden dowels to later drill out for drainage holes. If you are recreating this project, be sure to line your box with packing tape for easy removal. After waiting 48 hours, just to be safe, I removed the cardboard to reveal my large planter box. After drilling out the dowel holes in the bottom and giving my entire planter a sand to remove any jagged edges, they look so similar to other versions I've seen at high-end stores, but mine only cost me $5 in mortar and cardboard I was going to throw away.
Time to run down to your local baker and grab a big old container of cookies. But even though those cookies are yummy, what we want is that decorative lid. We're going to measure it straight across and get about 10 inches. Lay out some cardboard, and we're going to pick a bowl that's round for us to mark. Just go ahead and lay it on the cardboard and take a marking pen and get you that perfect circle. Now it's time to mix up our cement. Once we get it mixed, carefully lay it inside the bucket. You can see the consistency here is like some really good pudding. Now, once you get the right amount in, you're going to go ahead and just shake it all up. Cut some strips of wood. This one is going to be full 10 inches across, and the other ones are going to be 4 each. And then glue up the ends, lay it out, and fold it in. We want to make sure that all the pieces of the wood fit inside the circle. Take some popsicle sticks and some hot glue. You're going to lay this across the top. This is going to be our clamp that is going to hold the pieces together while that wood glue dries. Flip it over. We're going to do the other side also. Once you get these pieces on, it's so strong, it's time to go ahead and drill them because we want to put these caster legs on there. All we need to do is take some hot glue, put it in, and all 4 wheels go right in there. Now it's time to take those wood and the wheels, and we're going to just shake it back and forth to let it sink right into the concrete. Let it dry for about 24 hours. Go ahead and turn it back over after that 24 hours is up. We're going to use a knife, and we're going to start cutting away the plastic. We need to get some air in there. That's what's going to release our mold from the concrete. Look at that smooth, beautiful concrete. Now it's time to go ahead and take it outside, and we've got the perfect base for a rolling planter, and it looks great. I'm going to grab me some solar lights. Next, head over to the hardware store. I'm going to grab me about 100 feet of nylon rope. First thing I got to do is blow up this dollar beach ball. Then I got to get out some Portland cement. Make sure it's not concrete, but cement. You want it actually really thin because we need to coat that rope. Now, on that beach ball, just start laying that rope. You're just going to start roping it all the way around. Once you get to the end, what you're going to do is tuck that last bit in underneath the rope. And it's going to hold it in place. Then what we can do is move on to possibly adding a little bit more cement. Make sure you cover all that rope. We want it to stiffen up as best we can. Let it sit for a couple hours once we get it covered. Once it's covered, take a knife and just puncture the beach ball. Once we get it all the air out, just go ahead and pull it through one of the bigger openings between the ropes. Now, I want to clean it up. Took a little bit of a plastic fork and just clean up the edges. Don't want anything flaking off. Take a squirt bottle and start squirting all the string, and you're just going to powder it with the cement. Just keep doing that all over. What this does is make it thicker and strengthen it up. We're going to grab that dollar light again. Take out the bottom part. You're going to turn it around, put it in, and that's what's going to stick into the ground. Go ahead and put it right into the ground, right in the area you want to put it. And then you're going to take your string orb and you're going to put it right over the light, right in the middle, and lay it on down. Once it's in place, it just looks really good, just sitting there. It's waterproof because it's on the nylon rope and it's made out of cement. But once night comes, look at it light up. It is amazing to see from your yard and from the street. So I'm going to start scraping all the grass out of the area, kind of level it up, and then I'm going to grab some high strength concrete mix. Go ahead and get some water, pour it in. Now this concrete mix is going to be a little soupier than normal, so just keep mixing. Add water as you need. I want it to slide right off the tool. Now, grab a quart bag, Ziploc if you can, and we're going to start filling these up. No more than 3/4. What you're going to need to do is make sure that you get all of the air out. Now, find that area and start placing those bags, and then start shaking it. It's going to expand as the concrete settles. Smooth it out, and then place the next one next to it. Part of this, I've got a surprise for you. I took some rocks that glow during the night. I'm going to cut a top part of the bag out, peel it away, and I'm going to take those little pebbles and put them in there. Once these are in and the bags have dried overnight, start cutting the plastic and you're going to peel it away. Take some sand and place it all in between the cracks. Now you can just dump it out. I like to spread it a little evenly just to make sure I fill it really good. Once you got it on there, go ahead and start brooming it off. It's going to fill the cracks, and there it is. Our antique, rustic, cobblestone looking path. And do you remember those glowing pebbles? Here it is at night leading the path. They are so nice.
found this lamp at the thrift store. I want to tape off the end of the cord that's nearest the lamp. Just give them a light sanding. I've chosen a beautiful neutral brown. I'm going to go to work on the base and post. I want to cover the dark paint now with this lighter cream color. It's time to create that faux grass cloth look on the shade. I want to do this to the entire shade, highlight all of those beautiful lines. I can't believe this is the same thrift store lamp.
Let's apply some cute flower decals to this plain glass pitcher. I used a weeder tool to remove the excess vinyl and then placed some transfer tape on top of it. I smoothed the transfer tape down with a scraper tool. I placed the design with the transfer tape down onto the pitcher. Repeated this process over and over again until the glass pitcher was filled with pretty flowers and greenery.
First, we're going to repurpose a 1-gallon glass pickle jar. And then we have some decorative nautical rope. I'm measuring out vertical strips. I'm going to end up cutting 8 of these. I'm going to start using my glue gun to attach them on the side of the jar. And all I'm doing is I'm evenly spacing these out, and then I'll do that, continue on until all 8 are glued on. We're going to measure around the jar. We're going to need 2 long strips there and then glue 1 around the bottom. Put in some sand from the dollar store and a flameless LED candle. I hope you enjoyed seeing this one come together.
We're going to start by using a hot glue gun to glue these forms together. After we have them all glued, I got a piece of cardboard, traced one of the circles, and I'm going to cut just inside the line that I drew. And you're going to get your hot glue again. You'll just want to decide what color you're going to want to paint your form. And again, you could leave this just as is if you like something a little more simple. I like simple sometimes, but today I'm just going to take it up a couple notches with some color, and I'm just going to draw some shapes on here. So what I'm doing is putting a filler piece in the bottom and just popping that guy right on top. And we have our DIY flower pots all set up in my daughter's room. I think they turned out super cute and they match her room so well.
Using an X-Acto knife, I just cut off the top portion. Next, I'm going to take some craft paper. I'm scrunching it up. Then I'm also going to use extra masking tape. So I'm just going to wrap the whole thing in this craft paper and just cut out my handle. So I'm just going to rip the envelopes up into tiny little pieces and stick them into my blender. We're going to be using some Mod Podge, and I just spread it around onto my plastic container. And this is my finished vase here.
So I'm going to start this project with a empty marinara jar and putting the food coloring into the Mod Podge. I'm essentially mixing it all together to turn it into kind of a murky brownish green color. I'm getting out a cookie sheet and some newspaper. I'm pouring the mixture, the Mod Podge mixture, into the jar, and I'm spinning the jar, let the excess drain out. We're going to take all of our bottles and we're going to bake these, and as you can see, each of them kind of has a different tint. It's beginner friendly, faux vintage decor on a budget.
On one of my most recent trips to Dollar Tree, I came across these glass bowls, and as well I spotted these cool margarita glasses. I'm going to take some E6000 and I'm going to spread it around on the bottom of the margarita glass. And then I'm also going to apply some E6000 on the bottom of one of the glass bowls. Then I'm going to place it on top. I'm going to leave this to set. In the meantime, I'm going to take my second glass bowl and I'm going to take some E6000 and I'm going to take an old drawer pull and then place that on top. And then I'm going to let this set as well for 24 hours. So this DIY is super easy. Honestly, anyone can do this.
I have the storage container, giving the container a quick sanding. I always dust my molds with cornstarch. I'm just going to keep adding clay, remove the excess clay, release the clay, and I'm going to lay them all out. I'm using some tacky glue to stick them in place. It's time to paint them. Give the container a beautiful faux stone look. I think this box and the texture are so fun.
Go to your local dollar store and grab a few glass candle holders. Take off any stickers that are on these jars, and go and wash the jars. Take your lids outside and spray paint them. Let these dry and move on to the glass candle holders. Mix up some 5-minute epoxy, dip your knob into it and center it onto the painted lid. Move on to the candle holders, dip it and center it on the jar. Now let's place these in the bathroom. You can really put anything into these that you want to, some Q-tips, smaller hair ties, and also cotton rounds. These apothecary jars will help you organize your bathroom items and look really cool.
This plastic dollar store planter needs a makeover. Now that the paint is quite thick, a quick sanding with a sanding block. I want to cover the entire planter except the bottom. I want to brush on some dark gray paint. I want to add a little white. Finally, I want to seal the planter with a clear coat. It's time to fill my planter with potting soil and add a beautiful plant.
So I've got my vase and I'm dropping little spots onto the vase. So then I'm taking some cling wrap and laying that over the top, and I begin to smush the colours together. Lift the cling wrap and plop it down on another part of the vase. And so I keep going around the whole vase. I haven't added any more paint, and lay it on half of the vase and then very carefully peel it back. And you'll see that you have this really lovely kind of veining effect. And here is my finished vase. Doesn't it look great?
You are going to want to grab one of these plastic bowls. So I'm going to mix up some dark orange paint with a little bit of white. I'm going to add a little bit of baking soda. Now I'm just adding a light coat to the entire outside of the bowl. So I'm going to just grab some flour and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit onto the wet paint. Rub it in a little bit. Cut up some floral foam and put that into the bottom. I'm going to use some succulents that I picked up at Dollar Tree and just stick them in this bowl. I love how this turned out, and it is such an easy painting technique.
You're not going to believe what I do with this vegetable oil. I added ready mix, concrete mix, peat moss, perlite, and water together and mixed well to create a thick concrete mixture. Next, I oiled the inside of a 20-liter bucket using the vegetable oil, and I carefully packed the concrete into the bucket on the bottom and then worked my way up the sides. After it dried for 24 hours, I flipped the bucket upside down to take it out, and I used a small wire brush and remove any loose dirt and dust around the sides and bottom. Brown, antique white, and gray acrylic paint and blended with a bit of water. And now I have a modern pot that looks like a limestone planter for a fraction of the price.
I'm going to grab this trash can, take the top off. Now I'm going to use a really strong adhesive. I'm going to put it all over the back of the stair tread and then wrap it around the trash can. I want to make this look a little bit antique, so I am using a silver rub and buff. And I'm going to put a little on the bottom of the can too. I'm going to put some drainage holes in this and place it in the top of the trash can. And now I can fill the top with soil and plants. This is an inexpensive way to use an old trash can.
I grabbed a corrugated cardboard box and a tin can. I cut the cardboard about a 1/4 inch taller than the tin can. I wet a tea towel and pressed it onto the top of the cardboard to make it damp so I could pull the top layer off, and painted the top 1/2 inch and top edge and painted the whole corrugated surface in antique white. I used a sponge to add black and blended it all together using my paintbrush. Spray painted some silver for a metallic touch. I wrapped it around the tin can, hot glued it together, and now I have a knockoff galvanized zinc vase.
You'll need a laundry basket. Start at one end and wrap the rope around the basket, gluing as you go. Continue until you have the entire basket covered with the rope. I'm brushing on a wood stain. Find dead center of your tabletop. Find a picture or design you want for your tabletop. Cut away any extra white paper that doesn't have toner on it. Generously apply and brush the photo transfer medium onto the printed side of the paper. I'm adding some transfer medium to the tabletop as well. Carefully place your design face down. Spritz plain water onto the paper. Carefully rub the surface in a circular motion. The paper will start to flake off. Continue rubbing and spritzing until all of the paper is gone. Seal and protect your design with a spray clear coat. Add a couple of handles. The side table is perfect for storing away throws you want to keep nearby.
2 blue buckets that I found at Dollar Tree, cutting the handles off, glue them together. I'm stacking my other bowl on top of it. We're going to take our pool noodles and we're going to start cutting them in half, putting enough glue and then holding the pool noodle in place to form the shape. I'm taking caulk, adding it to the indentations between my pool noodles, but I'm just going to be painting this entire thing white. Stone spray paint, and we are going to spray it. And here is the finished product.
I'm going to use this free palette. I'm going to flip this over to the back. I'm going to cut the 3 main support beams right there. And then I need to remove the boards that are in the middle. Next, we're going to measure in between on the backside. I'm going to measure and cut these 2 boards. Now I'm going to take the smaller pallet boards, and those are going to be my fillers. Then I'm going to put the bottom and the top pallet board together. Go ahead and take all your pallet boards, put them in the middle. Then you're going to just take a screw on each side of the support and put it together. I'm going to go ahead and set it right into place. And oh, I was so excited. It fit like a glove. Next step is to go ahead. We're going to put those on, and look at that. Now we got to be able to secure the door. So just a little eye hook right there and put that in. So I'm going to put these eye hooks in and I'm going to use a chain. Now it's time to secure it to the wall. Be very safe when doing this. But once I got it secure, look at that. But here comes the surprise. You're going to love this. Once it opens, it's your little old pallet bar. Isn't that great? I love it. I can store my drinks inside. I even put a bottle cap opener. Headed down to my local Dollar Tree. I'm going to start with these glass beads. I'm going to also head over and get some rubbing alcohol. Next, I grabbed this bowl. Got it from Home Depot. I'm going to grab some sand. Start putting it in the bottom. So you want to fill it up to where when you get your bowl, you're going to kind of be level with the top. And it has a firm foundation. Let's go ahead and start putting some more sand in so that it holds it in place. So level it out. Make sure that bowl is firm. We don't want any spillage or that thing moving when we light it up. Go ahead and put the metal bowl in, and then remember those glass beads and start placing them all the way around. Take that rubbing alcohol and pour a little bit in there. Give it a little bit of a flame and it's going to light right up. If you need to put it out, you're just going to put a metal lid on top. It's great for just relaxing nearby. The first part is making sure that the bottom is flat and level. When you're stacking the cinder blocks on top of each other, always make sure you use an all-purpose construction adhesive. It's going to hold the blocks together so there's no slippage or having them fall apart. On a project like this, you're always going to want to make sure you're wearing gloves. You're going to lay and stack 4 of these cinder blocks together. You're going to do this for both sides. Always want to make sure I take my level and just make sure it looks good. Then we're going to take 2 more, turn them the flat way. Use the construction adhesive, lay it down, and put the bricks on. These are going to lay sideways, facing each other. The next thing we're going to do, on the back half of the last cinder block, we're going to put some construction adhesive and lay this cinder block facing up. Now that we've got our cinder blocks in place, you're going to use a total of 7 on each side. The next step is putting the wood in. And here it is, our final project. I think it just turned out great. I literally built this thing for less than $60. I've got this sad area in my backyard that I really want to spruce up. Once I use that level and a board to make sure it's level as possible, I'm going to set out a base of reclaimed bricks that I had. Once I get all the bricks out, I'm going to use sand as a filler. So I'm going to put some sand down, rub it out, and make sure that it fills in all the cracks. Next, I'm going to start handing out these pavers. What I'm going to do is lay these out and get them all around the edge of the bricks that I laid out. On the next row, we don't want to lay the seams on top of each other. You're going to go ahead and mix it up and put the seams right over the next layer. 3 rows is going to be perfect. Next, we're going to make a top for it. I'm going to lay out some glue because we need to make a brace to hold these together. I'm going to put these across and then I'm going to use my nail gun just to put some nails in to hold it in place. Once we get our circle all figured out and marked, it's not going to be that hard to cut it out. Once I got it cut it out, let's go ahead and get it sanded down. And I'm going to need some handles, and that makes it great. So when the fire pit's not being used, it's going to be perfect. It's time to go ahead and get the campfire going, and it just makes for a wonderful, great afternoon. Go ahead and grab yourself a tomato cage and also grab some wood shims. Grab a scrap board, take the thick end. We're going to get a nice clean hole, and we're going to do this to all of our shims. What we're going to do is take a towel and just dip it in there, make sure it's all covered. Just wipe it on there. The sticky points that go into the ground, we don't need those. It's just going to snap right off. Now we're going to grab us some copper wire. We're going to put that through the shim with the hole in it. Just use it like a twist tie. Go all the way around. Once you get the second layer done, we're going to grab us a solar light from Dollar Tree. Take off that small part on the bottom, the stake. We don't need that. And let it float right in the middle. Now we're going to work on that last circle. And when the night starts to fall, watch this. That thing is going to light up. And you don't even have to turn it on or off. It works its magic automatically and recharges during the day.
Start by measuring your space. We're using waterproof crib mattresses, so you'll build your couch around the crib mattress measurements. Cut the pallets using a circular saw. Be sure to watch out for nails. Cut all the way across, then flip over and cut the other side. After you've cut all the pallets, start stacking. We used a total of 12 pallets, cut to fit for our outdoor couch. Use a nail gun to attach painted plywood fronts and trim board. This part's a lot easier if you have a second set of hands. Now that the couch is assembled, you can add the crib mattresses. Ours were shipped covered in plastic, so we left that on to make them extra waterproof. Cover the mattresses with fitted sheets. These are inexpensive and easy to throw in the washing machine. Lastly, decorate with throw pillows and enjoy with your favorite furry friend.
Next time you're at the thrift store, pick yourself up a couple of lampshades. To begin my project, I just took apart the lampshade, so I just began with some scissors, cutting apart the fabric and ripping it off. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this little knob back on. Then I'm going to go ahead here with a hot glue gun, just going to attach this faux moss onto into the wired parts. I came in with these solar fairy lights and wrapped them all around my lampshade. At night, once the solar lights have charged, they light up and they provide just a cool atmosphere for my backyard.
We're going to grab us an old pallet. We need to cut a section of the pallet out. Go ahead and separate it, but don't throw it away. We'll need those boards. Take the section that we cut and we need to find the middle. That is how we're going to get our two ends perfectly aligned. Take that part that we cut off earlier and separate it and remove some of the boards with the nails in them. Just go ahead and grab a hammer and you're just going to start tapping on the back side of the nail. You're going to pull that nail right out. And we're going to place them across the top of the two pieces we cut. Then I used a nail gun just to put it in place. This thing is going to be so strong, it doesn't take much to hold it together. Take a little bit extra, the boards that we have left over, and we're going to build a little bit of a shelf. We're not going to secure it because it's time to show you this final project. This is great for outdoor. It looks rustic and it's great for cooking s'mores and making some hot chocolate, especially with that sliding shelf. Headed down to local Dollar Tree to grab some rope, some clear bottles, and some cool little lights. Just take the hook off the top of the light. Next, we're going to take the bulb off. Next, we need to take the actual light mechanism and pop it out. What we need to do is paint this cover. Now on the bottle, we have a cork here. We can go ahead and just remove that. Next, I grabbed off of Amazon a bottle cutter. Put the bottle on the rollers and you go ahead and start turning it. What you want to do is hear this noise. That means you're cutting right through the bottle, but it won't cut all the way through. I'm going to show you a little cut line on there. Stick the bottle in the boiling water for a good 30 seconds. Once you got it in there and it's heated up, immediately go ahead and put it in the icy cold water. It's going to separate along the score line, and look at that. Perfect. Takes off the bottom and you got a nice flat smooth line. Put the lights back through our painted cover and clip it back on. Take some E6000 glue and place it around the edge. Take some hot glue and put it in the areas I didn't put the E6000 on. That's going to hold the cover in place while the glue is drying. We're going to stick the lights inside the bottle, set the cover on top. Then we're going to take that rope, stick some hot glue on the neck of the bottle, let that hold, and then we're going to start wrapping it all the way around the neck. And then take this extra twine, we're going to put it through the hook. I made 3 of these and we put them up. I hope you guys enjoyed this project. I sure did. And we can't wait to see you again on Hometalk.
Take some colorful plastic eggs and glue the top lid to the bottom lid and apply some thin jute twine. Wrap the egg top with jute twine. Using colorful bendable wire, wrap the jute top in a circular but random pattern and then create a cute curly Q wire top. Have fun displaying your new fanciful fall acorns. Grab some pipe cleaners, fold each pipe cleaner in half, and then start to thread gold pony beads. Take 2 of the folded pipe cleaners and twist them around each other once. Take a third and then a 4th pipe cleaner. Gather the ends of the pipe cleaners together. Take some raffia, clip the tops of the loops, create 3 raffia bundles, and tie them to the base. Display your new colorful crafted corn.
I'm going to start with this styrofoam plastic pumpkin. It's going to begin hot gluing and wrapping the pumpkin. Bring the other corner across. I do want to cut out a circle for the top first, so I'm just going to trace around on some black canvas fabric, and then I'm going to hot glue that around. So I'm going to add the glue to the circle that we cut out, cut a slit, and I'm going to push the barbecue skewer through, and this makes the form of our hat here just to create a little decorative finish. Secure the fur beard in place. Then I'm going to take a wooden bead for the nose, and I work that under the nose as a little mustache. So I'm just going to add some glue to the bottoms of those and stick those in place. It is the most adorable turkey gnome I have seen.
This is a Dollar Tree waste paper basket. Spray it with rustic orange spray paint. Feed the string right through, and then just tie this cut along the bottom of the bats. It kind of looks like a smile. I'm going to cut out a triangle and just press this right on. You're going to bend it in half. Take a pipe cleaner and pull it through really tight around. Give our scarecrow some straw hair, and we will give our scarecrow a nice little hat, but I'm going to give him a little plaid bow. Here is our little scarecrow all ready to greet friends by the front door.
I don't know about you, but I can never pass up these gorgeous gourds. And just scrub off the mold, the dirt. I have put a few coats of crackling medium. Now I'm going to use a glue gun to create a pattern on the gourd, drag it down and make a vine. Now we're going to paint the gourd and go all the way around your gourd. See the crackling process start to happen. I'm simply using a little bit of dark wax and clear wax on the entire gourd. For my second gourd, I wanted it to look like I dripped white wax all around the top. I even went back and put a couple drips on top of some of the other drips to make it. I'm using a dye made by Gourd Master, and I'm putting it on with a shoe dye applicator, and I'm just rubbing it on the gourd. It's time to spray them with a clear varnish. And look what you get, this beautiful tablescape.
What you're going to need for this craft, of course, is a pumpkin, and you're going to need 5 wooden spoons and also a spatula. I actually found these at my local thrift store. The larger ones I'm going to go and paint orange, and the smaller ones I'm going to paint yellow. So after these are all painted, go and move on to the spatula. I'm using an off gray color, and after the gray has dried, I'm going to go and start to paint on a beak. And after the beak has been painted down, then you can go and paint your gobbler. Then go and paint some eyes. I used this fork that I painted as well to give my turkey just some little hair and make him look cute. Going to go and use a regular pumpkin carving tool, making sure that my wooden spoons will fit. So I cut out this piece and made sure it all fit. 2 orange in the back and 1 yellow in the middle. And then I gave the turkey a little tie. I brought my pumpkin outside. You don't have to bring this pumpkin turkey outside though. You can always use it to decorate your fall tables. So I've just taken some floral wire and I'm going to go ahead and find the center of my pom-pom, put a little dab of glue in there, poke the end of the wire right into the middle of the pom-pom. I'm going to loop it back here and then I'm going to start bringing my sunflowers right around the tree. So I'm going to go ahead and add a second one and just keep going around the tree. It's time to add those super fun pom-poms. The last thing I want to do to finish off my tree is make a little bow for the top. And I'm going to use this burlap ribbon and fluff it out a little bit and I'll attach that with a piece of floral wire right in the middle. I hope this has inspired you to pull out your Christmas tree early and decorate it for fall.
I went to Walmart and I found this beautiful tool. Here is our dollar store foam frame. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our pieces of cut tulle and tie it in a slip knot right on top of this. So we're going to come back in with each color. We have the yellow, we have orange, black, and red, and we're going to just alternate between each. So let's repeat that layer over and over again. And if there's anything sticking too far out, you can always just trim it up. So I'm going to take the black tulle, we're going to just fold it over a little bit, and this is the back of the wreath. We're going to take a few floral pins and insert them. Then what you can do is you can start wrapping it with this beautiful black tulle. We're going to do one final wrap, cut off the excess, and then I'm going to flip it over, create a little ball with all of that excess tulle, take some floral pins and poke them right in. Now we have mini styrofoam balls and we're going to use these for the eyes. Then we also have some of these googly eyes. Grab my glue skillet, dip a little toothpick in it and poke that right into the styrofoam. Then we can take another toothpick, grab a little more hot glue and create your little eyes. So I glued 2 toothpicks right into the base, take our styrofoam head and poke it right inside. Now we have our cute little eyeballs and we're just going to poke them in. So now I have some yellow ribbon and we're just going to cut off a little section of it and we'll just roll it up into a cone. Take a toothpick with a little hot glue on it and then wait for that to dry. We're just going to apply some hot glue and we'll just place them. Cut off a little bit of red yarn and that's going to simulate the wattle and place it on. And here's how our tulle turkey turned out. I think it turned out so stinking cute and it was so incredibly easy to make.
I picked up these 3 little wooden crates. So I've mixed up some brown milk paint that you just want to water down. And I want to make sure that I paint all sides and the inside. While my little crates are drying, the paint are these little gourds and pumpkins that I picked up at the dollar store. So I'm just going to take some of this pearl metallic paint and I just want to kind of brush it all over these just to tone this down a little bit. To hold these crates together, I'm just going to put some hot glue on the ends. And I'm just going to slide them together and hold them while they dry. I want to add some of this beautiful ribbon that I found. So I've gone ahead and made a little cut in the end just to make this a little nicer. So I'm just going to start by attaching the straight end to the one side. I'm going to put a little bit of glue, attach this down and around the end. And then we're going to go to the other side. I want to go ahead and put a little bit of floral foam in each one. I'm just going to take my knife, mark off where this would hit the top, and I'm just going to trim it a little bit shorter than where that is. And I'm just going to use a serrated knife and cut right down.
I'm going to put a little bit of the hot glue, just a couple dabs down at the bottom, and that will hold my piece of foam right down there in place. So now we've got our Flora-Foam inside the crates, and it's time to start filling those crates with some fall flowers. And don't forget we have those little gourds and pumpkins that we added the white pearl to, and we can add those in as well. Once you have this with a nice amount of things in here, you want to grab some moss to finish this off. These little crates were perfect to turn into a fall centerpiece. It was quick and easy, and I absolutely love how it turned out.
trimmed and sewed 2 different thrifted flat sheets together and left about a 2 to 3 foot opening at the bottom. I stuffed a folded piece of foam inside and then folded it over a headboard. I used hot glue to secure some ties to either side and tied both ends in cute bows.
I ran down to the hardware store and grabbed several pieces of brick molding. My first step was to figure out my spacing. I secured these in place using just painter's tape for now so that I could step back and make sure that they looked the way I wanted them to. And then I secured the brick molding using a nail gun. I used caulking and ran it down the side of the brick molding. This way, everything would look nice and finished. Once that was dry, I was able to add my paint. I applied several coats of white paint so that everything would look like it was one continuous piece. I went ahead and moved the furniture back into the room and got to work on decorating.
I'm gonna go right down the center and just cut them in half so that I have that flat edge to go flush against the board.
Space the noodles out with a little bit of spacing in between and then attach them also with the staple gun for some added stability. I worked in sections of about 4 at a time, sprayed a little bit of spray adhesive on, and then just kind of used my hands to firmly work the leather into the channels. I trimmed the edge at the corner and then just tucked it over and secured it tightly with a little bit of spray adhesive and then also more of the staples. Once that corner was secure, I just worked my way down.
I hit the hardware store and picked up some 2x2s and some 3/4 inch plywood. I measured and cut the 2x2s to the height of the headboard that I ultimately wanted to have. Once my frame was built, I added my plywood pieces on top. I screwed these pieces of wood into place. My next step was to cover it the way I wanted it to look. My solution was actually to purchase a 5x7 foot jute rug online. The price of this rug was only $62. Placed the rug around it and started to staple it into place.
I am going to show you how to make 3 high-end looking headboards using supplies from Dollar Tree. You're going to start by flipping it over so the white side is facing down. On the back, I am using 2 paint sticks and I'm going to hot glue them over the creases. I grabbed a really lightweight towel. So I've ironed out all the creases, laying it flat on my table, and I'm going to put the piece of cardboard over the top and then just fold it around the sides and hot glue it in place. This next headboard uses peel and stick wallpaper tiles from Dollar Tree. And I laid them all out again on that trifold board, made sure that the patterns matched up. To finish off the edges, I am just folding that wallpaper over. Dollar Tree has these rolls of shelf liner. So starting with a trifold board as a base, I am just going to unroll onto the cardboard. I want to line up all these flowers so it looks like one continuous piece. For the back of this one, I am going to fold the remaining adhesive over the back so the edges look nice and finished.
I headed down to the hardware store and picked up some 1x2s. I measured my wall and cut the wood down to size. I stained the wood. I made sure the first piece was plumb, and then I used a nail gun to attach it to the wall. Once I had the first piece in place, I used another piece as a spacer and then secured the next one. I secured all of my vertical boards in place. I secured the pieces on the ceiling. I used LED strip lights with a remote control. I removed the backing and stuck them along the wall and also up onto the ceiling pieces. Turning it on for the first time was exciting. I took this builder grade cabinet from plain to custom. The first step was to measure the width of my cabinet door opening with the slides in place. Then I cut down the 1x8 to the width and depth that I needed for my cabinet. I put these together into a box shape using just some L brackets. It was really quick and easy to do. Once I had the box built, I ended up taking a piece of plywood and marking it, cutting it, and adding it to the bottom. This way I had a fully formed box. After that, I removed the cabinet door and got rid of the hinges and hardware that were there. I attached my drawer slides, making sure that they would be able to slide in and out of the cabinet door easily. Then I attached the other piece of the drawer slide to the box itself. The next step was to place the box onto the slides and make sure that everything was moving smoothly. Once that was all in place, I took more L brackets and added them to the box so that then I could attach the door. Once the door was added and secure, it was time to add the handle. I created some pilot holes and then added my handle at the top of the door. Now I could pull the cabinet open using this top handle, and I could add a trash can inside the bin that I had created. This way I took just a simple cabinet and I modified it so that it's now a pull-out trash bin. I love how easy and inexpensive it was to customize this cabinet and make it much more functional.
I've got an eyesore in the front of my house, and it's my garbage can. I've got an inexpensive idea, and it happens to use pallets. What I'm going to do is get them squared up, and I want to make sure that they're just wide enough for the garbage can to go in and out without rubbing. Once I get it squared up and the sides are holding up pretty good, the next step is I got to cut some railings actually. These can be made out of 2x3s or 2x4s. Once they get cut, I'm going to measure about 7.5 inches down from the top. This is going to give me some good markings that I need to put each one on each side of the pallets. It doesn't take a lot of screws because not a lot of weight's going to go on there. Then I'm going to grab my reciprocal saw and I'm going to cut the less desirable pallet that's going to go on top. So all it takes is 3 good cuts. Once I do got this cut, what I can do is I could sand it down a little bit to make it look nicer, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and just slide it right on top. Take some care with this because when I put it on top, then I'm just secure it with some screws. Once I got that, I want to go ahead and trim out the opening. I grabbed some old fence pallets that I had that were redwood, and I'm going to go ahead and just brad nail these on the top. I am also going to put it on the side. Now, it doesn't take a lot of nails to hold this in place because it doesn't weigh very much. So, once I get this on, I am going to go ahead and do the same on the sides. That way it looks more like a little bit of a door frame or anything when I put it on. Once it's all put together, then I can slide my garbage can in. Now, I want to decorate it. There's many options you can do. You can put some vines on the top around the sides, hang some pictures or anything like that. But I think it turned out really nice. Gets rid of that eyesore just having the garbage can out front. I hope this motivated you to build your own inexpensive trash can enclosure.
we're excited to show you how to trick out your trash can. First and foremost, we used our Fusion TSP alternative in step 1 to clean this trash can thoroughly. We're going to be using Fusion paint again in the color Casement. So we're going to take our Harlequin stencil. We're going to lightly pounce up and down, and we don't care if it comes out perfect, because that is not the whole point of the exercise, and it's not the look that I'm going for, perfection. Notice how we're not having to reload 1,000 times our brush. So one dab of paint did an entire stencil. So now we're gonna repeat the pattern. We're just holding the stencil with our hand. We don't have any kind of adhesive on the back of it. I don't use adhesives. I find them to be a little bit more tricky than helpful. I like to have control of my stencil. Okay, and I will show you guys how easy it is to have control, and we will wrap around the side. You get really lucky on these because when you wrap around the side, all you gotta do is this one right here, and then it will be a flat straightaway again. So we're just gonna do this one because nobody's gonna see the back. And we just gotta wrap around this corner. Then we're gonna turn ambidextrous and use our other hand. And we've got our Harlequin done. And on the next step here, we're gonna take all the points of our Harlequin and add this hot pink connector polka dot. But a trash can is typically something I throw, like someplace so that it's hidden. This one, we're gonna bling. Now that we've allowed our background Harlequin to dry and the hot pink polka dots that we put on, we are going to play with some redesign with Prima transfers. So when you have your transfer and you take your backing off like I just did, do not touch the image or do not let the image touch anything until you know exactly where it's going to go. You could easily lose it. So we've got these little sticks that Prima gives you. There's also fancy tools. It just all depends on what you want to use. And we got it off. Okay, so now I'm just gonna fold this piece up. I just wanna go over it. Then we're gonna use this large flower here. Gonna be super cool. So we just have to see how we actually want it to go. So we're gonna wanna overlap a little bit. We'll rub this side down. We're not doing this fast or anything. We're gently going around the corner. Now, if you notice, I had made a little boo-boo over here. Transfers are great for if you make a mistake. So do not give up just because you made a mistake, because even those of us who have been doing this 15, 20 years make mistakes, guys. Just stay patient. And you've got a perfect transfer. No crinkles, no bubble. Then we can take our piece that we used on the waxy, shiny side and do the same thing yet again. We're working on our finishing touches, so we want to get a little bit of redesign with Prima on the top as well. My name's Dustin Van Fleet of Dustin Van Fleet Design, and I hope you guys have loved coming along for the ride of this tricked out trash can as much as I've enjoyed making it. I'll catch you guys On the flip side,